we're live now. So this should start showing up. Yeah, excellent. We're gonna pause that because we don't want that to come in the stream. All right, so here's what we're gonna be doing today. I'm working on a course right now for RavenDB. And so there was something that I wanted to build, and it turns out that someone's already built it. This guy, friendly agent. But it's not quite exactly what I would like. It's a little bit more involved. Like, it requires a little bit more boilerplate code than what I would prefer. So what we're going to do is, rather than me reinventing the wheel, we're just going to submit a PR to this friendly agent person, and hopefully he'll accept it. And I would say, like, normally I would create an issue and, ask about it, but regardless, I want to use my enhanced version. So he seems really open to getting updates. There's not really much activity on it, so I think he'll appreciate a PR. So I have a to-do list here. Oh, by the way, I realized that you probably can't see the entire browser window. So let's fix that here. Sorry, it's my second time streaming, so I'm just trying to get this set up right. Perfect. Okay. So anyway, I have a to-do list. This is what I want to do tonight. The version of RavenDB that he's going against is the beta version, so I want to update it because the latest one is the release candidate. I want to simplify the setup that he has currently. I should say that they have, because I don't know what their preference is. So add Raven Manager, you see here. We pass in the options, and then on top of options, we have to specify, this is the default server. And so then we're going to add a server. So I want to simplify that. And also, this is fine. I won't need it for my purposes. So I just want to kind of consolidate this. So basically what I want is, I want a default. So without having to know anything about this library, I just want to call it, and I just want to have it automatically pick up options from my configuration. So that's one thing that it doesn't do right now, is it doesn't read from my app settings. So in the sample here, you can see there's some app settings.development. So there's nothing in here. So I want to fix that so that it'll read from configuration by default. If you do pass in options, then it will still create the default server for you. So you don't have to do this where we specify a new server. It'll just do it. Otherwise, I want to be able to define my configuration just in my app settings. So just as JSON, and I just wanted to ingest that rather than me having to type in code to configure it. So there's a couple of reasons for that. Mainly, when I have different app settings for each environment, I just kind of wanted to pick it up. I don't want to have to define it every time in the code, or have conditional code branching in there. So here in startup, you can see this is the example that he has here. I don't want to have to say if I'm in my development environment, then use this server or whatever. I just want to have it pick it up from the app settings. The other thing is just to make sure, regardless, that I can bootstrap RavenDB. So I want to seed data into the database, and I just want to make sure that with this library or this NuGet package, I can do that, because that's what I do on my own apps, set them up. So that's what we're going to do today. And I'm in my fork, and let's see what we got here. So we got some VS Code. Let's just go ahead, create a new branch. Feature, RC update, simplify, config. Okay, it's a little bit more descriptive. I'm just going to say, this is what VS Code added for me. Just add VS Code files. Cool. I have a delicious brew here. So that's cool. Let's get started here. Just gonna get rid of the welcome. I don't expect you to know what RavenDB is in the first place, but it's a database. Specifically, it's built on top of .Net, although it is cross-platform, so you can use it with Python or they have a Python, Node, and Java SDK and .Net. But primarily, I think most people use it with .Net. So it's fairly popular in the .NET world, and it's a document database, NoSQL document database. And like I said, I'm making a course right now on it, and so this is kind of inspired by that, because I want to use it on my own app, and I want it to be a little bit easier to set up. So I just wanted to make this library, and like I said, someone's already done it, so we're just going to submit an enhancement. Okay. First things first, we want to update the dependency here in the csproj file. You see here that it is depending on raven.client alpha. So it's not even anywhere close to the release candidate. So let's go in here, cd source. That sounds good. Cool, we got our csproj. So I think I should be able to just do this. And I think it'll automatically update it. We'll see. Sorry. Okay, restore. Oh, wrong one. My bad. That is the wrong one. That's the old one. We don't want to do that. All right, great. It's just raven.client, that's all. Okay. Unable to find stable package raven.client. Oh, you know what? Let's check. I bet that it actually is ravendb.client. Let's go to NuGet, ravendb.client. I think it is ravendb.client. And then what we want to do is we want to add the pre-release version. Here we go, 4.0. So this is how we're going to do it. RavenDB. And then update the version right here. Boom. That's going to be a little bit easier. There we go. We can see. Can you see? Restore completed. You can't really see, I don't think. But we have it. .NET, NuGet, and I should be able to. I feel like there should be a way to see the packages that I have installed, but let's learn together, shall we? So I'm like not new to .NET, but kind of new to .NET Core. All right. Core CLI tools, NuGet. What is this? So it just lists them. This is for like cache directories. It's not what I want. I don't see anything here. This is not helping me. So this is add package, list reference. This might be what I want. Nope. That is list project references. That is not what I want either. How the heck can I have it just list the .NET packages? NuGet packages. well, that didn't work out so well. I'm just going to trust that it installed the right one. Cool. So we updated that. I think we're going to have to update the tests too. Maybe, no, don't need to. Doesn't really look like there are tests. Do you see any tests in here? Bin, object. I don't see any tests. Cool. Well, it makes our lives easier. Next, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to simplify that server setup. So I think we're going to take it one step at a time. What I want to do is say, from the Zap settings, I want to say Raven, and then I just want to start with URL, and in my case it's going to be localhost. Testing dependency injection. Cool. So we're going to start with that. So the way to get this to work, here we have our startup here. So what I want is I want to technically get rid of all this just for now. Probably add it back later. Okay, so here we have Raven Manager. Then what we want to do is we want to create options for that. So I think I just recently did this. So .NET Core options configuration. Here we go. Using options, got that. JSON file, cool. Okay, so we want to do this. And in fact, let's just double check, because I thought I saw some code in here. So first of all, he has a couple options. And these are Raven Manager options. But here, Raven Server options. Let's just make sure in his extensions. So what this is doing is it's creating extension methods off of services. So that's what this is, iService collection. And in .NET Core, what a lot of packages are doing, as you can see, like MVC, being able to register all your dependencies just right up front in one single little method. So that's what he's trying to do here. So we have add Raven Manager. That looks good. This is the action. That's what we saw before. This is what I was interested in. So add Raven Manager options. So, you know, this might be kind of cool. I feel like this might actually do what I want it to do. We should test it. So what it should be able to do here is say, what is t value supposed to be? The type of the specified manager. Oh. Okay. So it is configuring the options like that, which means if I go into Raven options here, we have servers. You know what? This might actually be doing what I want it to do. Let's find out. So apparently, so the configure method here takes in my options And I think that's just the name of the key. So like we have my options. With the following, the app settings.json. Doesn't say. Okay. My options.option1 property is bound to the key option1. Alright. That's what I wanted to know because it's a subsection. Here we go. So this is getting sub options here. Configuration.get section. Okay. So now it'll be like this. So that's interesting. Based on this code here, under extensions, we're calling configure options. Okay. Because this here takes like some sort of configuration section. So, what's that? Configure. I don't see any other overloads here. You know what? What are we using? That's why. We're on .NET Core 1.1. Okay, so the next thing we should do is we should update the .NET Core version to 2.0. So this will be fun. Let's just do this. 2.0. Cool. 2.0. The other thing... And then this, I think, needs to be updated. Let's go find out what the latest version of that is. Boom. 2.0. Of course it's 2.0. Should have known that. Alright. Let's find out if we broke anything. Yeah, cool. So we're gonna have to get some stuff out of here. Package target fallback and asset package fallback cannot be used together. Well, we'll just get rid of that. Trial and error, man. Okay. That's a little better. Document store. So now, in the actual manager, there's some errors. So down here where we're actually creating the store, so we got database, identifier. Oh yeah, so it's actually array now. Cool. And this is just called database. And there is no more API key. I'm not quite sure how that works actually. Is it just certificate based? I don't know. You're gonna have to find out in my course because I don't know the answer. I have to find out. So we don't need API key. So actually, man, my nose is stuffed. All day it wasn't. And as soon as I want to stream, becomes stuffed. All right, let's fix the server options. We don't want the word default. We're just gonna do database, and we don't want API key. All right, let's see here. Do. All right. What is this error? I can't see it. Okay, that's fine. Because we're just changing this one. Okay, so now I think we maybe have a .NET Core 2 app. Yeah, excellent. That's neat. And then the other thing we need to do is do the same thing in here. I don't know if we need that. This is going to be 2.0. All right. So where's the samples? Oh. Samples. .NET build. Okay, so I don't think we need that. Going to here. We don't saying that we don't need this anymore. I don't know what it does, but if it builds, it works. I'm not the one who has to publish the NuGet package, right? Okay, this is what I want now. So now we are on the latest version. That's why I wasn't seeing it before. Sorry, this is all cluttered now. Oh, here we go. So here, we have that, and I wanted to go into that extension method here. So here now, I want to do services.configure. Okay. Yeah, so now there's a overload. So the first one takes an action. That's what we're doing right now. The other one takes a name. So I think that's what we want. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that the name should just be Raven. So we have options. Cool. So now we have Raven. Okay, that's good. Then what I want to do is we have Raven Manager. Under app settings, we have Raven. No longer default, just database. Then, so now if I have options back here, so these should just come in. We have servers, which is I think what it expects, main, and then default server main. We can still simplify this config. That's kind of what I'd like to do, but I'm just trying to see if this works. So now we have Raven Manager. We're not configuring any options. I wonder if that is going to work. So we're going to do see whether or not it comes in pre-filled in. with the default server. So .NET run. Let's see what it does if it blows up. Hosting environment development. Okay. We're on this. Oh, look at that. I guess I can't click on it. Let's go to it. All right. So that's good news. That means that it got past here. I don't see my console log here. Well, rather than doing that, let's set up debugging and get that to work. So we have the sample. Cool. See if it works. Cannot. Oh, you know what? I gotta shut down the server before I can debug. Try it again. What's the matter? Oh, that's why. Update the paths, man. Update the paths. Okay, let's try that again. We will keep doing it till it works. All right, great. So we saw here that it ended up not hitting our breakpoint. Raven Manager. Why is that? I feel like it definitely should have. Well, why don't we go to the actual controller here? Let's just call add scoped async session because that's what it's expecting. So I just want to see, is it just like, skipping the breakpoint, or, not really executing that, or is it just something else? So let's see if we can actually get a session back. Cool. Okay, that's a little bit more promising. There was no default server configured. It'd be really cool if I could maybe set a breakpoint in here somewhere. Actually in the extension method. That would be great. Let's see if that works. Trying to figure out why it didn't hit my breakpoint. Great. Okay. now we have the options, or at least we have the actions here. That's good. Let's go in here. So now we are going to configure these options. Cool. So it did that. Then we're going to add Raven Manager, new Raven Builder, services. All right. Okay. It didn't really go into that callback. I'm wondering if it's even being called at all. So we're inside of Raven Builder. Let's set a breakpoint inside of Raven Manager. So I want to know right here. Aha, great. So these options, actually, you know what? This will be a better place to set a breakpoint. So let's stop it and try again. Okay, so here we're adding the Raven Manager. Okay, now we should be constructing it. All right. So we have our value, default server, null. Okay. So it's definitely not reading from it. You know what? I think I know why. Let's try this. So I only added this to app settings, but hopefully we are running in development. So let's see what happens there. Get better luck. It's possible. Play. Okay, it's gonna go load it up. Options, value. Nah, still no good. There's something wrong here. So iOptions is injected by ASP.NET Core. Okay. What you give it is the class that you want the options to bind to. Raven Manager options. Go there. We have a default server, then we have a dictionary of servers. Now in our settings, we have that right here, default server, then we have our servers. Now I've put it under a Raven key because down here, I said, you know, here's the section. So the name of the options instance, configure options. Unless I'm doing it wrong. What the hell is configuration? Hold on. Let me just go to startup here just to see. Section. So this returns an iConfiguration section. What is up with that? Okay, so this takes an iConfiguration. I can also say Raven Manager options. So if I said get section Raven, what is that gonna do? So let's restart it. So if I do it from here, I wonder if it'll work. So this is taking in options, which is an action. Step in. Options are null. Configure it with that. You know what? I think I know what's going on here. Alright, so you see here, we've got our stuff here, values, there it is, testing DI URL. So if I play, default server is main. Oh, look at that. Awesome. That's cool. This I don't care about. So we got that far. So I think I know what's happening. When you do configure, you got a couple ways you can do it. You can pass in how you want to build options from configuration. That's what I want to do by default. So what I actually want is when I don't pass in the options callback, the action, then I want to essentially run this, right? Because I want to go and get the configuration from the app settings. So I want to do that. Then if you do pass in options here, then you are configuring your own options. I don't have any control over that. That's what it was doing before. So what's interesting is I think what I can do here is I can say, hey buddy, take this, pass it in here. So if I do that, kind of want to do this by, prefer to not have to pass this in. So let's see what we have here. So we have services, dependency injection, and we have a builder up here where we are setting the configuration, configuration root. So kind of interested in like add MVC, you know, how these work and how they get access to configuration. So here we have dependency injection, designing your services. That's not what we want. Registering your own. I might have to go kind of take a look at how other people are doing it. Well, let's go dive in, shall we? Better go to the source, right? So go here. All right, that looks like what I want. So here we have use MVC. We want to add MVC. Sorry, add MVC. Startup.f#, blah, blah, blah. Design time. I don't want test. I want this. Add MVC. Services. Okay, where? Okay, alright. Cool. So is this really not getting configuration during the mapping time? Yeah, okay. It's not. So it seems like there's a couple ways to do this. Easiest way is to do this and just say configuration. Okay. So if I do that, then I go back to Raven Manager, or sorry, the extension method. We add an overload that says public stat Raven builder. configuration, and then we'll give it the key by default, be Raven. New line here. Import that. No import because I need to take a dependency on that. It's like okay, I think this is what I want. I can find out. Shit, that's not what I want. Alright, what we're gonna do, Google that for GitHub. ASP.NET configuration, looks good. Then I want to search for that interface. So we have iConfiguration root here, and there it takes a dependency on iConfiguration, and we know that it's not in another package because there's no other using statements up here, right? So it's under this namespace. So that is what we want because that is the name of the NuGet package. So we go back here. All right. .NET add package. That should work. Awesome. Now restore, and now this should show up here. Yeah, perfect. Cool. And what we want to do by default is we want to say, hey, this, boom, like that, services dot configure configuration. Cool. And actually realize I do need that. Get section. Right, sorry, key. And really I should name this section. So if you wanted to, that would give you the ability to customize where you want to put it, configuration. So it sounds good to me, but it has a reasonable default. So if I don't care where it comes from, it'll automatically just use Raven. That sounds good to me. Where was I? Then I need the T options. Cool. So I will need Raven manager options. Then why is that? So back here in startup, so that's what I want. I wonder if that's coming from different library, because that's essentially what I'm doing here. Configuration root, configuration section. So the overloads to this method. Come on, come on. No, I want the frickin' thing here, please. So this only has one, probably because I'm doing it, I'm using that. So why don't we hit F12 on here to go where this is. What is this? Oh, that's why. Go back. No, I'm doing that. Microsoft extensions, dependency injection. Service collection. What's going on here? Configure the services, calling it with services, passing in configuration. What the F am I missing here? So I added the 2.0 version. What is... There's something wrong with my code and I'm not seeing it. So first maybe let's do that. And yeah, I'm still... Where is that coming from? This is coming from Microsoft.extensions.options. Maybe I should get rid of that. No. That's not even being referenced here. Yeah, it's okay. It's not an extension method. Well, I'll be damned. Where's this coming from, man? Why am I not seeing it? This is in Microsoft.extensions.dependency injection. Look at that. Are you effing kidding me? Where's that coming from? Let's this is 1.0. Let's check NuGet here. Oh, look at that. That looks like something I want. I think that's why. Alright, now we go back in here. And magically, please be fixed. Look at that. All set. So Cameron needs to pay more attention to the assembly at the top. Okay. We're back to where we were. So we have our options. Therefore, we can just do Raven Manager, add Raven Manager. That's all we need to do. So we do return add Raven Manager. And we don't need that. Don't need that. Yep, don't need that. Cool. So we want this. Apparently you can define your own Raven managers. Don't know why you'd want to do that. I suppose so you can customize it. Return new Raven Builder. That's what I want. Oh. Derp. 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 There we go. Okay, so now we've added our own little overload. Yeah, let's do. Typically config files. Typically a config file. Cool. Summary. This is where I wish I had Visual Studio, because this is annoying. Param name configuration. This is configuration root. Okay, then section. And we should say here to Raven Manager options. Okay. Looks like I can just do this. Neat. Alright, cool. Alright, and then it's complaining that I don't have services. Let's add that. Okay, now here in our startup, I could get rid of this. And if I rebuild, I'm gonna open up a new terminal here. Oh, I'm sorry. Sample cd dependency .net build. Let's make sure that we have the latest code. All right. You should not be complaining about this because I'm passing in configuration. Great. .NET run. So now it should be pulling in the right code. Let's get rid of these here. Okay, blew up. Missing method not found. Get properties. Ooh. Okay, first things first, let's update all these dependencies. So this should be that. And I don't think I need... Well, I'll just keep them in here just in case. Alright. So just making sure it's up to date. And we're going to have to call .NET build. Make sure there's no other errors. So upgrade. So I just want to make sure that I'm on .NET 2.0 for all this. Okay. .NET run. Let's see what happens. Hey, look at that. So I'm pretty sure there was a conflict with the assemblies there. Oh, look at that. Look at that, my friends. So now we can actually test it because we're not actually doing anything in here. So let's just call session dot load async object. Let's just do that. So I don't think it's going to work. It should blow up because I don't have that database locally. So this is going to be a good test of our startup sequence here. All right, so I should just be able to... Nope. If I installed watch, the watch thing, then I could just do .NET watch run and it would just reload anytime I change the files. But it's okay. All right, good. Excellent. So you can see here that we got database does not exist, which means that our options being loaded. Cool. That's good. Let's go create that database. Just make sure that it works. All right. So sample, no sample. We want testing di. All right. Cool. New document. Test 1. Test. Save. Excellent. Refresh. It should load. Yep. Cool. Excellent. Cool. So that's running. Excellent. So let's go back to our list here. So we said that ideally we wanted to do this without having to pass configuration. Not sure yet if I can make that happen. The one way to do it, I suppose, so there is one option. One option is inside of Raven Manager here in the constructor. See how we are taking a dependency on these options. If I wanted to just take a dependency on, what is it, iConfiguration or whatever that service is, I could manually like go and get the options. But I don't really want to do that. It's a little bit easier to do it the way I'm doing it. So maybe we just make a concession for right now. So the other thing is, if I pass in options here, this is actually easy to do. You ready for this? So we can do this pretty easily. So let me just make sure we commit. There's a bunch of stuff we did. Update to .NET Core 2.0. Update Raven to RC. Add configuration from, or add support to read options from configuration. Great. Very cool. Okay. So then we go back to our file here. So I've added this overload. We're going to add another one. Let's copy that bad boy. And then see here that we have actions this one up here. Options. So we're just going to replace that. But instead of that, we're just going to do Raven options. Cool. Raven server options. Alright. What is... Oh. This is the wrong file name. It's confusing. Sorry. Raven manager options. Alright. It's confusing. Okay. We got our options. Let us just copy that. Great. So to use the default Raven server, then go like that. Then we say options, and we go like this. Got it? You see what I'm putting down here? So options dot default server equals main options dot add server options above, and we should just call this moptions. Moptions, yes. You ready for some options? Add server. Server name is main. Okay. And just can don't even need to do this. Yeah, I don't even need to do this. You should just be able to pass in. I mean, it depends on what you think is a good API to do this as, but so I have the option to do like services dot add Raven manager, and then I can still say options, right? But I can just do options dot URL blah blah, right? Or I can say new Raven server options. Ugh. Blah. I don't want to do that. We'll just do the action-based method that is more consistent with how the rest of all the services work in ASP.NET Core. Okay, so right now I think it's going to say that it can't determine. Yeah, it probably won't be able to determine exactly Raven server options. It's not going to be able to distinguish between these two types, but okay. Oh, yeah. Nah. Okay. All right. If options do not equal to null, then so we want to have our Raven server options options. Then we'll say options like that. Now what? Okay, cool. Alright, then we'll pass these in. So this is kind of what this method down here is doing. Services.configure, that's kind of doing it for us. And actually, yeah, we can actually just do that, I think. So down here, we're just doing add Raven Manager services. So we don't actually need this part. Sorry. Wait. What am I trying to do? So add Raven Manager. So these signatures are going to conflict. What's going to be the best way to take care of that? Let me think about it for a sec. I mean, I could change the method name. Add Raven Manager. We could what is the gonna be a good way to do that? I mean, adding a new method would do the trick. Let's just start with that. So add Raven Manager with default server. So if we do that, we're good there. Okay. Yeah, that'll work. So now, if I go here, go to startup, I can do services. Options. URL. Host 8080. Options.database. Testing DI. Okay, so then let's go basic session. So if I do that, then we rebuild it. It's actually running. To rebuild it and run it. So that should work. All right. There was no default server configured. Yes, there was. I did it here. Oh. This should be doing it. I think I'm doing it right. Options. Options.default server. Options.add server. That's what I'm doing. What you talking about? Definitely passing in M options. I'm definitely setting the default server. So here Raven server options. URL database. Looks okay to me, man. What you complaining about? Because this is exactly the same as up here. Passing in action. All I'm doing is calling this callback here. We're adding the Raven manager, services, default server. Something up, man. Well, let's set a breakpoint because that makes no sense. We'll do that. Should be calling this, so we should be setting the default server, and then we're adding a server. So, don't be complaining about it. Okay. Yeah, so certainly we go through here. Configure. We now have, yep, cool. Then through here, do that. Options. Value. Oh, that's definitely not working. What's up with that? That's interesting. Well, so you saw that none of our stuff here was called. What's up with that? Because we should be doing this, passing in our options here. Then it should be calling it to configure. Oh, you know what? That's why. That's why. That's why. It's the old code, man. Let's see what that does. All right. Options. Yeah, okay. So we got our servers. Interestingly, the breakpoint that we had here wasn't hit. I mean, it's working, but it wasn't hit. Don't know why that is, but that's okay. As long as this works. Cool. Alright, so we did that. Is that documentation? Good. Adds and configures. Default Raven manager. Using options. Okay. So we got that. Let's go back to startup. Okay, so that's looking good. So now we got these two ways of doing it. Cool. So we have add Raven manager with default server. Cool. Then we have this. This is done. This is how it's reading it. Cool. Alright. And then I just need to make sure that I can create the database at startup like normal. So that's all she wrote there. So let's add that. Add manager with default server overload extension. Alright. Let me just close everything here. Cancel that. Close all but this. There we go. So here in our startup, let's just go back to here. This is what I want to use. Cool. Yeah. Sounds good. You know what's interesting is they are doing that here, where you have to actually pass the I configuration. So that's something to keep in mind. The official Microsoft approach is to do that. Okay, well, I'll think about it. I'd rather just use a default one, but I don't know. We'll see. Okay. So anyway, what I want to do is I want to use this service that we have now. In the configure method, I want to run some crap here. So what I can do, I think, so I could do like app.use RavenDB. I don't really want to do that. I need to get access to the document store on startup. Builder startup. Let's read more about ASP.NET startup, because I want to kind of do like some stuff. Configure services. Okay. By convention, configuration options are set in this method. Okay. There are add service extension methods. Add DB context. Yeah, so you see this options. Callback is the typical way, and then they also have like add. So that makes sense. It's okay here. So services available in startup. In the constructor, we have that. And here in configure, we have that. Any services added by the configure services method may be requested by the startup class, constructor, or its configure method. Use Web Host Builder to provide any services you need during startup methods. Oh, okay. That means, yeah, we don't want to use because that's a middleware, so we don't want to do that. So I think what it's saying is here in program, I have my Web Host Builder. And let's see what I can do here. Configure services. Yeah, I'm not sure, because certainly there's a configure services method here. I don't know. Let's try it out. So we have services. Let's move this code. So let's take this, add it here. Oh, you know what? We're not going to have access to the configuration here. So I don't think this is a good place to put it, honestly. Just for fun, can I say is that gonna work or is it gonna fail? Let's find out. Okay, it certainly executed. What happens if I do something like a new method here? Configure Raven. So if I say Raven, and then I say, hey man, go get me a store. Yeah, that's fine. Then I say, hey, store index. And am I using the client here? So .net add package. RavenDB.client version. Yeah. Is that what it is? Let's check. Oh, nope, it's not. Okay. Dash RC dash 419. Huh. I'm in the sample. I'm in the sample. Package. Dash V. Oh. Yeah. Two-step PowerShell. Alright, looks like it added it. Let's make sure. Indeed it did. And I don't need that. Cool. .NET restore. Make sure I got everything. Alright. Now here, if I can do index creation. No. No, what is it? Okay, sorry. RavenDB dot, nope, Raven dot client dot documents dot indexes dot index creation. That's what I want. Boom. Boom. Alright. Cool. Create indexes. That's what I want. Type of, let's create an index just for funsies. Just for funsies. Indexes. And we want to do test. This is my test index. Cool. This is is that right? Yep. Okay. Test. Cool. Maybe I can just do that. Can it be blank? Oh. All right. Let's create a fake model, I guess. Tests by name. Test by name. Create a new folder. Models. Test. Public. String name. Okay. Public string ID. It's just boilerplate crap. Alright. Then we could say use models, then map equals tests from t and tests, select new t dot name. Alright, so this is going to just create our index definition. There we go. Fix that. Cool. Then inside of our startup, we want to say here.assembly. Alright, import that. Cool. So we want to do this. And then we got to pass in the store. Alright, so we're going to create the indexes. That'll actually be enough for me to make sure that this works. So .NET run. So what it actually should do is down here, it should actually create an index. If it works. If it works, it will totally create an index. Oh, yeah, look at that. Boom. We did it. Great. That is so cool. So apparently, services that you register in configure services, you can depend on them in the configure method. That's what I was trying to figure out, reading the documentation. Just trying to see. Yeah, okay. So I mean, it says specifically here, any services added by the web host builder configure services method. Oh, okay. All right. I was just a little confused because it says web host builder, and that's up in here, web host builder, and there is a configure services method. But I think what it's trying to say is the configure services method on here because web host builder will call this method. So just a little unclear, I guess, but makes sense now that I think about it. Yeah, see, and it says use web host builder to provide any services you need during startup method. So I don't know, it's not really clear here that you can actually use the configure method with services that you use in your startup.configure services method. So I might put a to-do on here to maybe contribute that clarification back. Depend on services created or configured in startup configure services method. Configure method. And let me just link to this here so I can keep track of that. Configure can also accept service provider. Okay, but let's just put that on here. All right, so might contribute that back just so that it's clear for other people, and so they don't have to do what I did. Great, this is perfect. This is perfect. So now I can do this in my applications, which is awesome. And we have completed the checklist here. Really, we're all done. It's just that I would really like it if I could just not have to pass configuration. You know, maybe I should just keep it the same as the Microsoft stuff. So why don't we change it? It's a little bit more verbose, but technically it is more clear. So why don't we do that? Let's just modify this one right here. So we don't take that. We don't take a root. No root. No root. Don't need a section. Configuration to map from. And then we just do that. Alright. Cool. That's it. That's all we need to do. The only other option, we need one more of these with the generic type overload. So we want what they call it down here, T value T options. Just want to be consistent. T value T options. Sorry. Then this becomes that. This becomes T value, and we just want the same restrictions right there. Cool. Cool, cool. Let's format this. Alright. Great. Then we need these documentation pieces so I don't get yelled at. Cool, cool, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Neato, neato, neato. Neat, neat, neat. Alright. This provides the maximum configuration. So now, if I want to, I can add my own custom options, like my cool Raven manager and my cool options. If I want to do it that way, I can do it that way. So, cool. Alright. That's what I want. And then let's update the documentation saying that we can do this. So down here, I also saw like a grammatical error here. Let me see here. Da 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 da. Do da 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 do da da da. Oh, right here. And let's just be clear. Let me get rid of this side view here and open up the preview. Get rid of this too. Alright. Cool, cool, cool. Getting started. Yep. Add this. Okay, so rather than saying in your startup CS, so we're gonna do a couple options here. First one is use default options from configuration. So we're gonna take this example, copy that. Yeah. This is going to be options. Use default options. So in here, we're just gonna be, oh shit. Whoa, what the F is going on? Okay. It's all jumping all over the place. Configuration, .get section, Raven. Cool. Yep, and then specify the default options in via configuration, for example, in your app settings.json files. Then the example is that Raven the main database URL Okay, database. Cool. Ah, shit. Oh, that's stupid. Okay. So dumb. It's like not. It's all over the place. Okay, I think it's because it keeps jumping around. See, it like keeps fucking jumping around. Oh my god. Okay, this is what I want for this section. All right, so now you can use the default options from configuration. So we added. You can specify the default options via configuration. For example, here's how I do it. Cool. Then we want to add another one. Just this part. Thanks, Hybrid Mind. Awesome. Heavy metal. Configure. Actually, use default. Default server configuration. Okay. And this one is going to be our long method name with default server options dot rel. Let's just use what he's doing down here, just to be clear, just to be consistent. Oh, this jumping around is really killing me. You know what's going on is the getlens extension is like trying to be helpful, but it's jumping around my view here. Okay, default database. Take that. Then over here, database name. This has been changed. That's just database now. So this should just be database name, just to be clear. Okay. So this is the default one. So use default server configuration. If you're only using one Raven server, you can pass in a single server options configuration. I suppose it's more accurate to say you can configure a single server options. Cool. Yep, good. Configure full. If you need complete control over the Raven manager, you can configure its options like that. Cool. Neato. Pass in a configuration to automatically map the values to a Raven manager options object. And I noticed down here that there's not really any documentation about options. So let's add that. First one is Raven manager options. Let's open it up side by side just so we can see. Also, that git lens thing is really annoying, so I'm going to disable it for right now, for your benefit, not just mine. Disable. Sorry. Come back to you later. Okay. Did it disable? Oh. Alright. Reload. Cool. Great. Anyway, Raven manager options. Let's open it up side by side here. Okay. So we have default server. That's one. The default name of the Raven server to connect to. Then we have document conventions. Default RavenDB document conventions. C. Now I will helpfully go link to RavenDB document conventions, just so people can get some more info. Yeah, don't want that. C#, cool. I guess this is where the start is. Yeah, okay. Not super great, but it's something. It's something, right? So, document conventions. All right. Next, we have. Oh, sorry. It's not document. It's default. Looking at the name of the property type here. Servers. Okay. Servers. Dictionary of server names to server. Dictionary of server names and server options. Okay. Well, they're not going to be using that really. They're going to mostly be using add servers, but whatever. Add server. Server name options. Add a new server with a friendly name and options. So what I want to say here is you can configure a list of RavenDB servers. Oh, by the way, Hybrid Mind, so you joined late, I suppose. So I work, I'm working on a course where I'm going over this database technology, RavenDB, which is a .NET database, but they also have Java and Python and Node SDKs. But anyway, there's an open source package from somebody named Friendly Agent, and their package is pretty good, but I wanted to enhance it because there's a few features that I wanted to add because I want to use it myself, and I wanted to simplify some of what it was doing. So basically, I'm almost done, actually. Should be finished within the next 15-20 minutes. I added some features to it. So I updated some of its dependencies. I simplified some of how it was reading the configuration and to be a little bit more easier to use for myself. And so that's what I'm working on. And we're almost done. So I'm just adding the documentation because if you go to his or her there repo page, you can see that basically all it says is, oh, here's how to use it, but it doesn't really give any other documentation. So I'm just kind of adding some for their benefit. Okay, so you can configure a list of RavenDB servers with friendly names and options. Cool. And then Raven server options. We know we have a URL. Raven server. And then we also have database name to connect to. Cool. And we can confirm that by going in here. And then we also have conventions. Conventions. Okay. All right. So let's look at that. Take that out. Go here. Okay, so now we have some options. And I suppose I should say that and that. Some poor man's documentation here, but good enough for a GitHub repo. I got a new server, Raven server options. Cool. That's all the same. That remains the same. This is looking good. That's looking okay. That looks okay. Technically, there's no mention of the ability to specify a custom manager and custom options. Yeah. Oh well. Too bad. I don't know. If he wants me to add that, I can, but that's more writing than I want to do tonight. Great. Update README. Switch to Raven. What is this doing here? Get out of here. Get out of here. What's that doing? Nothing. It's the same. It's exactly the same. Start up. Yeah, here. I don't know. This'll work. Test. Yeah, it's the indexing. Okay, this is just some formatting. Yeah, just formatting. Update README. Oh, one thing we should do is undo our change here. This is the sample. Yep, don't have it there, but we probably want to do RavenDB dependency injection, just in case someone wants to test it, they can use that database. That looks good. Cool. All right, update README, formatting, update Raven dependency sample. Cool. Do that. All right. I think we're about done. We should submit a PR so we can get this person's attention, and hopefully they will be okay with merging it. So let's publish my branch. So I have a fork here. Right here. Okay, so let's compare. I want to see actually what the differences are. So the VS Code stuff, I don't think we need to include. So I'm actually going to delete those. Yes, and then I'm going to add a git ignore. I don't want to bother people with my own configuration. Here we go. Okay. VS Code files. Let's make sure it works too. Okay, you gonna bother me? Close all. Close all. There we go. Yes. So it should create those files again under VS Code, but they should not show up under Git. Perfect. Excellent. That's what I want. Okay, let's refresh this. Okay. Oh, I need to push it. Alright, cool. Good. Fix that spelling error. Add some more documentation. Making sure that looks right. Okay, looks okay to me. Alright, then we're actually loading something in here. Oh, for Hacktoberfest, actually. Why not? That's a good idea. So what Hybrid Mind is talking about is that new Hacktoberfest from DigitalOcean. Actually, when I did this, I wasn't even thinking about that. It's just tonight. So me and my wife switch off weeks where we have days off from like watching the baby and stuff. So like the baby's sleeping right now in the room next to mine. But I don't have to worry about it because my wife is watching him. So it's tonight's my night off. So I was like, I was going to work on some open source. And I've been wanting to stream for a while. So finally I had some time. So I wasn't even thinking about Hacktoberfest. But I knew about this a little while ago. So I probably have enough for pull requests. Because I help work on a library called Excalibur.js, and I have a lot of pull requests there. I'm not sure how many of mine recently in October, 17 days ago. So I have one PR that was merged for there in October. So this will be the second one, I guess. Cool. We'll see. I might be able to finish by the end of October having a couple more PRs. That's not a bad idea. But yeah, I didn't even think about that. Good idea. I like your thinking. Okay, we updated the dependencies to 2.0. Great. Added a fake dependency injection sample. That's great. Oh, I suppose I shouldn't delete all of his sample code here. Let's not do that, actually. Let me go back and get that. I was going to use the git lens, but I don't think I can. Git history, nope. So with the git lens extension that I just disabled, you can actually go back and get the file revision. So we'll just do it in GitHub, that's fine. So I want to go to here, go to master, go into samples, startup, and copy this here. Alright, so let's add that back to our sample code here, just so people know that they can do that. So what we'll do here is use configuration from app settings.json. Use configure full options. That's the sample right here. And this is not right. And then the other sample that we wanted to show was a single server. So I want to do this and do options. It's with that server URL, and then options.database, database name. Let's keep it the same as what I put in that documentation. Paste. Paste. Cool. All right. That's what I want. Yeah. Sweet. That's what I want. Cool, cool, cool. Then these are going to fail, obviously. When you run this, it's going to actually fail. But that's fine. They can comment it out or whatever. Add examples to startup.cs. Okay, let's add that back to that PR. Refresh it. Sorry. Am I out? My beer's gone. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. All right. We added the samples back. Cool. So we're not jerks. Getting rid of a sample. Let's keep it there. We're taking the dependency on Raven Manager, creating the indexes just in its example. Okay, updated the app settings. Here's just the example to run locally. And here's where we're adding actually all the methods here. So those looked okay. Just reading the docs here. Adds and configures default Raven Manager. Okay, yeah, that's right. Change database. .NET Core 2.0. Cool. Great. Sounds good. All right. This is a good PR. Let's add some info here. Update to .NET Core 2.0. Update. This is going to be too big for a title. How about to support easier configuration? That's good. All right. So changes. Number 1, we updated RavenDB dependency to latest RC 419. Then we updated projects to .NET Core 2.0 and dependencies. Added ability to read options from configuration. Like app settings.json. Then added with default server to configure a single server. Shortcut. Cool. And then I should add some context. Couple small enhancements for usability and also to update the dependencies. Please let me know. Hey, Hybrid. Yeah, I do. I work at Target, the retail company, the big bullseye. Actually, I just started there about a month ago. I've been working at General Mills before that, the cereal company. So they make Cheerios and stuff. So I was there for 7 years. I did mostly .NET. But last month I joined Target, and now I'm doing JavaScript and Node.js, which is not what I'm doing right now in the stream, but I probably will at some point. So please let me know if I should make any other changes. All right. So I try to be a good open source citizen, so I have my list of changes. I'm complimenting the library author because he did do a good job, and I appreciate that. And then if I need to make any other changes that he notices, I'll do that. Cool. Yeah, definitely. So my brother, my middle brother, so I have two other brothers, but my middle brother just got done with a software boot camp in San Diego. He went to a place called Learn Academy. So this is where he just graduated from, and yeah, San Diego, California. He said it was really good. It's like a 10-week boot camp or something like that, and he learned Node.js from the ground up. Like this is a kid that's like, he went to college for 2 years. He dropped out because he wanted to do political science. Didn't like it. Worked at Starbucks for a while. Was trying to figure out like what he wanted to do, and then he never was really interested in coding either or programming. But he was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try, and he really likes it. And he's excited. He's got an internship soon, so that's really cool. But yeah, I mean he's what, 22 or something, and he doesn't have any special degrees. He just kind of went to one of these boot camps. So there are a couple of them. He liked that one, but there are other ones. There's actually some in Minnesota where I am. Flatiron, I think there's one here in Minneapolis. There's also the Iron Yard. No, Iron Yard. Yeah, Iron Yard. I've heard this is good. Actually, General Mills has recruited here before. So a lot of Fortune 500 places will recruit from these software boot camps. So he applied like on the actual website. So I think they have a website. Where is it? Here it is. Yep, so you can apply right here. You can also do a tour if you want to. So that's what he did, 3 months in a class. So it was pretty intense. Like basically you can't really work while you're doing it, or if you are, you got to work like part-time, because it basically takes like all your time doing nights and weekends and stuff. And you're in a small group. He was in like a 4 or 5 person group, but it's pretty intense. So what's cool to do the application for the job is that they actually do it for you. So what he was able to do is he got interviews at several local startups and companies, and they set that up for you, and then you pick like your top 3. So you're like, oh, I like this place, I like this place, and then I like the 3rd place, and they will place you in one of your top 3. So that's what he's doing. So it was totally like not stressful, and they pay pretty well. Like as far as entry level goes, he's making about as much as I did when I started. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah, thanks for asking. Definitely, if you're interested in doing this, you totally can. Like for me, I don't have a computer science degree. I actually went to business school, and I've been doing programming for a while, since I was a teenager, but like I didn't do it in the industry, I guess, or something like that. And I definitely learned a lot my first job. So like actually getting into the job and learning stuff, you learn a ton from other people. So that was great. Yeah. Well, good. Well, good luck, man. I hope you find something that you like. So, oh yeah, freelancing. It's tough. I did freelancing as a teenager. That was like kind of when the web was still getting up. But I found a client. So the big thing, if you're going to do freelancing, a good piece of advice that I've heard that I definitely recommend is to find someone who's like your sponsor or like your angel. Like you find a client and you just keep working with them and they find you more work. That's what I did. So there's a guy in New York who's kind of sponsored me. So I would do websites for him, and then he knew people, so I would do websites for them. So that's kind of how I made money throughout high school. Yeah, this looks good. All right, I'm going to submit this pull request. Yeah, cool. All right, I have submitted a pull request, so I'm contributing back to this project. Hopefully you will not get angry at me. Cool. So that's that. I did want to do another PR maybe to the Microsoft documentation. It's getting a little late, I think. I've been on for like 2.5 hours or something, so I probably won't do that tonight. I might actually go play a game or something. Playing Zelda Breath of the Wild. Pretty far. I'm excited. Cool. I think that's it. That was a good stream, at least from my perspective. Yeah, hoping that I can do this more often. So thanks for the follow, Hybrid. Maybe I'll see you later. I don't have like a consistent schedule yet, so I'm just trying to figure it out, because with the baby, he's 8 months old now. So evenings he sleeps, but that's also the time that we get off. So I'm not sure. Maybe Sunday mornings. I've tried that a little bit, but it's tough trying to get up and then we got to watch him and stuff. So yeah, thanks. Cool, man. Yeah, I'll see you later, and anyone else who's watching. So this will be recorded, so it'll be available on my Twitch channel afterwards. All right, peace out.